Have you ever felt motivated for a moment, full of energy, ready to change your life, only to find that a few days later, that feeling disappears? Many people start strong, full of excitement and hope, but then motivation fades and everything slowly returns to the same place. Goals remain unfinished. Plans remain ideas. And that quiet frustration begins to grow inside. This is where a difficult truth appears: why motivation alone will never build success. Motivation feels powerful, but it is temporary. It comes and goes like emotion. And when we rely only on motivation, our progress becomes unpredictable. Real success is not built on moments of excitement. It is built on something deeper: consistent action, patience, and disciplined habits that continue even when feelings disappear. So today, let's explore a question many people struggle with: if motivation isn't enough, what truly builds success? Many people believe success begins with motivation. They wait for that sudden feeling of energy, the moment when everything inside them says, now is the time. Maybe you've experienced this before. One morning you wake up determined to change your life. You promise yourself that you will work harder, build new habits, and finally move toward the goals you've been thinking about for months or even years. In that moment, motivation feels powerful. It feels like the beginning of something new. But then reality slowly returns. Work becomes demanding. Energy drops. Unexpected stress appears. And the motivation that once felt strong quietly fades away. Days pass, routines return, and the plans that once felt exciting begin to feel distant again. The pain here is simple but deeply human. When progress depends on feelings, progress becomes fragile. Motivation rises and falls depending on mood, environment, and emotional energy. When life becomes difficult, motivation is often the first thing to disappear. The real insight is that success cannot depend on emotion alone. The people who build meaningful progress learn to act even when they don't feel inspired. They show up during ordinary days, continue during uncomfortable moments, and move forward even when excitement is gone. This is where true growth begins. When you stop waiting for motivation and start building consistency, something powerful happens. Confidence slowly grows because you realize you are capable of continuing even without emotional highs. Another reason motivation alone fails is that it focuses on excitement rather than structure. Motivation often pushes people to imagine dramatic change. They picture quick transformation, immediate success, and powerful breakthroughs. These ideas feel inspiring, but they can also create unrealistic expectations. Real progress rarely happens in dramatic moments. Most meaningful change is built through quiet, repeated actions that do not look impressive from the outside. People who achieve long-term success often follow routines that seem simple or even boring. They show up to their work every day. They practice skills patiently. They continue learning even when improvement feels slow. This is where many people feel discouraged. The process of growth does not always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels repetitive. Sometimes it feels unnoticed. But this is exactly where disciplined habits begin to build strength. Small actions repeated consistently create stability. Writing one page every day. Practicing one skill a little longer. Taking one step forward even when progress feels slow. Over time these small actions accumulate. They create momentum. And momentum transforms ordinary effort into meaningful progress. When people stop chasing excitement and begin building structure, they gain something far more powerful than motivation. They gain reliability. Their progress no longer depends on emotional highs. It becomes part of their daily rhythm. And that reliability brings a quiet sense of inner peace because growth is no longer uncertain. It becomes something steady, predictable, and real. Have you ever noticed how motivation appears strongest when life feels easy? When energy is high and responsibilities feel manageable, inspiration flows naturally. But the moment stress arrives, long workdays, personal pressure, or unexpected challenges, motivation begins to disappear. This is where many people feel stuck. They assume the loss of motivation means they are failing. In reality, it simply means they were relying on a temporary feeling. Success grows when we understand that discipline must carry us through difficult days. Small consistent actions, working a little longer, learning a little more, trying again when things feel heavy, create progress even when enthusiasm fades. When discipline replaces dependence on mood, growth becomes steady rather than fragile. Over time, this steady effort builds resilience and restores trust in yourself, because you learn that progress does not require constant inspiration. Sometimes people also confuse motivation with identity. When they lose motivation, they begin to question themselves. They wonder if they are not strong enough, focused enough, or capable enough. This belief quietly damages confidence. But motivation is not a measure of character. Everyone experiences moments when energy fades and doubt appears. What truly defines a person is the choice made in those moments. Acting with patience and responsibility, even when excitement disappears, strengthens self-respect. Each time you keep a promise you made to yourself, you build a stronger inner foundation. That foundation becomes resilience. It allows you to face challenges without panic and continue moving forward with calm determination. Over time, your identity shifts from someone who waits for inspiration to someone who builds progress through disciplined action. Another challenge with motivation is that it often focuses only on outcomes. People imagine success as a final destination, achieving goals, gaining recognition, or finally reaching a place where everything feels secure. That vision can be inspiring at first, but when progress takes longer than expected, frustration begins to grow. Many people quietly lose hope because the results they imagine do not appear quickly. This is where the deeper lesson of discipline becomes important. Discipline teaches us to value the process rather than chasing immediate results. It reminds us that meaningful progress unfolds slowly and often quietly. Each small action, learning a new skill, practicing patience, improving a routine, contributes to long-term growth. These steps may seem ordinary in the moment, but over time they build strength, character, and emotional stability. When we begin to appreciate the journey instead of only the destination, pressure decreases and a sense of inner peace begins to grow. Discipline also creates emotional stability in a world that often feels unpredictable. When life becomes stressful or chaotic, consistent habits provide structure and direction. Simple routines, waking up at the same time, focusing on meaningful work, dedicating time to personal growth, act as anchors that keep the mind steady. Without structure, people often feel overwhelmed because their progress depends on temporary bursts of motivation. Discipline removes that uncertainty. When actions become part of a daily rhythm, progress continues even during difficult periods. This consistency builds confidence because you know your effort does not depend on mood or circumstances. Over time, these habits strengthen mental clarity and resilience. Instead of feeling controlled by stress or distraction, you begin to move through life with calm focus and steady determination, knowing that each disciplined action quietly contributes to a stronger and more balanced future. Another powerful effect of discipline is the way it rebuilds trust within yourself. Many people struggle with quiet self-doubt because they have experienced a pattern of starting something with enthusiasm and then stopping when motivation fades. Over time, that pattern can create a belief that personal promises are fragile. You may set a goal, feel excited about it for a few days, and then slowly lose momentum. When that cycle repeats, confidence begins to weaken. Discipline changes that pattern in a quiet but meaningful way. Each time you follow through on a commitment, waking up when you plan to, finishing a task you began, or continuing even when energy is low, you strengthen your sense of reliability. These small acts of consistency may seem ordinary, but they slowly rebuild self-respect. When you start trusting your own actions, your mindset becomes stronger. Challenges feel less intimidating because you know you can depend on yourself to keep moving forward. Perhaps the most important truth about success is that it rarely arrives in dramatic moments. Many people imagine success as a sudden breakthrough, a powerful moment when everything changes overnight. In reality, success grows quietly through patience and repeated effort. Discipline often feels simple and even unremarkable, but its strength lies in consistency. While motivation comes and goes, discipline continues. It shows up during the ordinary days when progress feels slow and recognition is absent. Over time, these steady actions begin to accumulate. Skills improve. Confidence deepens. Opportunities start to appear because preparation has been happening all along. What once seemed like small daily effort slowly becomes the foundation of lasting achievement. This quiet process also brings emotional balance because success is no longer dependent on temporary feelings. Instead, it becomes the natural result of dedication, humility, and the willingness to continue moving forward step by step. So when we ask why motivation alone will never build success, the answer becomes clear. Motivation may start the journey, but discipline carries it forward. Feelings will always change. Energy will rise and fall. But consistent action, guided by patience and self-respect, creates lasting progress. True success is not about waiting for inspiration. It is about building habits that continue even when inspiration disappears. And when we learn to rely on discipline rather than emotion, we begin to discover something deeper than achievement, peace within, resilience, and a quiet confidence that grows over time. Share your thoughts below. How are you building discipline in your life today?